There we go. All right, we're live in 5, 4, 3. Hey, everybody. Welcome to today's Mobility Tech and Connectivity Show. This is our live weekly webcast on how we are connected and the way we get around. I am Ryan Girardi. Thank you for joining us. Today is Wednesday, June 24th. Happy Hump Day to you. And here we go, International Upcycling Day. Not recycling, but upcycling. It's a growing trend that's still under the radar for some, if not many, but it's all about taking old objects and furniture and adding your own creativity and craft to make it something new, unique, and beautiful. And the history, although the term has been around since the 90s, upcycling first rose to prominence when it started trending way back in 2002, which is actually almost 20 years ago, believe it or not. So happy Upcycling Day to you. Today on the program, we have Tesla wants to start building a new plant as early as this summer, which is already half over with pools just opening. But yes, Tesla wants to start building a new plant. We'll look at that. Ford to offer hands-free cruise control. That's surprisingly taken this long to get there, but cool. The SEC tells Hertz to stop selling its worthless stock, and China to ease green rules for petrol electric hybrids. Plus, Apple's breaking up with Intel, and our feature interview for today on how COVID-19 is impacting auto shoppers. We have a white paper from Max Digital we'll be looking at. We have Kim Evenson and Tim Scoutelas joining us in a few moments. They'll be on in a minute. But I'd like to start off and bring in on my co-host, Jay, as well, and welcome Jay to today's show. Hello, my friend.
Hey, what's going on? Thanks for having me on.
Great to be here with you after having a week off. A lot has happened in 2 weeks.
How was your week off? Did you enjoy the time off?
Dude, it was awesome. So, I'm in Chicago. I went to Florida. I like road tripping. That beats getting in a plane to me. Yeah. Nashville's the midway point from here to Orlando, where we were going. Mm-hmm. And I've got to tell you, it was refreshing to be in Illinois. We are on pretty strict lockdown. In fact, I found out that this Friday, they're going to start permitting restaurants to serve customers indoors. In Tennessee, Georgia, Florida, they've been serving people indoors for couple of months now. I mean, they were only on lockdown for maybe like a month. In fact, we were at Cocoa Beach, right by the Kennedy, by the Space Center, Cape Canaveral. And there was a restaurant called Sandbars right in the parking lot.
Of course there was.
And
in the parking lot, right.
We finished, awesome. We were done with the beach and went to Sandbars. It's an outdoor, it's like, there's a roof there, but it's technically like outdoors. Anyway, it was packed. Table to table.
Nice.
And staff had on face masks, but as a patron, you didn't have to. And who knows? Maybe that could be a bad thing too.
Did you see people then like in swimsuits with face masks? Do you see that? No. Okay.
No.
Right.
No.
This is Florida, right?
It's I mean, come on. First off, you're on.
I'm
the
glad
beach.
You didn't see that because that
No, but what we did do. We did go to Volcano Bay, which is Universal.
Okay.
And are you familiar with Universal?
Yeah, to some degree. It's been a while, but yeah.
So, they've got a few parks.
It's all in Orlando, right?
Right. But the parking area, kind of like airports, right? There's a parking center and then they shuttle you.
Yeah.
I tell you what was cool. It was really impressive. At first I was like, what? You're required to wear a face mask to get into the park. Okay. And I thought, well, what's the point of that if we're just going to take them off in the park? But it actually was pretty well done. You park your car, in the garage, and then you walk to the shuttle area. They've got social distancing lines. You got to wear a face mask to get on the shuttle. They check your temperature. And then the shuttles were like, not even half capacity. So they had a lot more shuttles running. but they had people along the way, obviously all in face masks, but it was very well thought out. And,
nice.
you know, you walk into the park, you do your tickets, you go in, and then you can take your mask off, and they want you to have them on in the restrooms. But I mean, I think if you walked in without it, you know, no one said anything. It was cool. It was well done.
That's cool, sense. Man. That's good. And that's sounds like a reasonable compromise, which.
Well, it's better than having nothing, right? Like up here in Illinois.
Or having everything, right?
Right, because people won't look out for the greater common good of the others.
I mean, I just read somebody on Facebook was driving around looking for people that's not wearing masks. You know, a little bit of middle ground is good.
To reprimand them?
I don't know. I didn't finish reading it. I don't want to know.
I get to that point too. Yeah, it's like you go on Twitter. It's like, oh, I got to get out of here.
I'm doing something else. I'm
gonna flip me upside down.
That's cool, man. I'm glad you had some time off. That's great. So we're back, and we're back.
Yep. And I checked out. I was able to tune into your show last night. That was fascinating.
Thanks, man.
Automated vehicle inspections,
blowing people's minds with machine learning, and you know it's a no-brainer. If you're gonna have cameras everywhere, and or people and processes, you have all these disconnected vehicle inspections. Well, why not aggregate the data in an automated fashion, and therefore providing more accurate, timely services and estimates, and that's where things are headed. So yeah, it's fascinating. It was really a fascinating show, and I appreciate tuning in.
I'm going to put in a link to the show, everybody, for yesterday. And for those that are tuned in on YouTube, thanks for being here. Oops, I got the wrong link. Hold on, let me go back and get that. This is recorded. As you may or may not know, it is recorded, and then we feature the show on the AutoConverse podcast. And a little bit embarrassed to say this, I haven't published a podcast in a month. And and I apologize to my podcast only subscribers, because they're probably like, what's going on? Or maybe they're not. They just haven't noticed. But
they're finally getting caught up. You know, I've noticed there is so much media. Think of all the ways you can spend your day watching stuff, right? I mean, there is so much out there. So I think you're fine.
Well, that begs the question. Do you need to remain visible? Do you need to be there every day or every week, or can you disappear for a couple of months and come back?
And I love this question because I love to talk about media theory and strategy. So I think is that there's a few, yes, you want to have consistent, repetitive messaging, but you also if you're not going to create something interesting, then don't even bother. Just wait. Because if it's, I'm seeing some really tone deaf social media marketing, and what a waste of time.
Can you give an example what you mean by tone deaf?
It's hard. Well, because I never want to name a company when I say things like this, but I'm seeing a company that they have been doing the same type of posts for the last year. I mean, the world has gone up and down, right? I hit my microphone there. The world has gone crazy, and their marketing is like
not addressing the elephant in the room,
or any elephant in any room. It's just, you got to, I don't know how every company's different, but even on, I heard on Pandora a Charmin commercial, and even the Charmin commercial, rather than saying, yeah, we're pulling in loads of money because everybody's freaking out, what they said was, we know these are challenging times, and we're here to stand by you, and without being too specific, and that's why we're going to donate $1 million to such and such. Even if not everybody can donate a bunch of money, but whatever it is, a non-tone deaf social media post says, we know these are challenging times, That's why da 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 da. But if you're just, if you're doing the same, I don't know if they automated their posts like a year ago for every week for the next 5 years, but what you've got to just do something to recognize whatever is going on socially.
So the example you gave of Charmin is not tone deaf.
It's not tone deaf. That is not tone deaf at all.
All right.
And you don't have to go overboard and be super specific, right? Like say something crazy like, we know that statues are coming down. That's why, you may not want to do that. But at least if you did that, you're still not being completely tone deaf.
Well, we are not tone deaf here. Here's what we have lined up for today. And I mentioned, SEC tells Hertz to stop selling its stock, which we talked about yesterday on the used car program. I mentioned Tesla. We're going to go through these. So after we do our interview today with Kim and Tim, are going to come on in just a minute about COVID-19's impact on auto shopping, then Jay and I are going to get into some of the pandemic related issues and about statues being torn down. So something to look forward to as well. Hello, shouts out to, I saw Mike Kohler up on the live stream. Welcome here. Amanda, hey, haven't seen you in a while. What's going on, Amanda? How are you? Glad to see you back up here. Mike Phillips probably stopping by. So good. So let's get things rolling. All right. First things first, as we've reported about Hertz going Chapter 11 bankruptcy. They were given permission by the SEC to sell stock. Now, 5 years ago, they were at $70 a share. They were down to $20 in February pre-COVID, and now they're down to $2. And the SEC finally said last week that you can no longer sell stock anymore. Look for yesterday's broadcast on used car marketing strategies that we did. Jay was on there, and we get into that subject. I won't rehash that up here, but it's relevant because that's a rental car company, and rentals have a lot to do with the supply and demand of fleet and used vehicles in the automotive business. And it's an important story to keep your eye on. Now, Tesla wants to start building a new plant in the U.S. this summer. They don't want to waste any time, but they have documents in showing that they want to start construction as early as third quarter of this year. Tesla says it will invest about $1 billion to build the 4 to 5 million square foot assembly plant that will make the Model Y and the Cybertruck. And reports show that Tesla recently bought 2,100 acres just outside of Austin. So I guess they're branching out of California. No surprise there.
Right. No surprise. And that's a great idea.
It is $68 million in tax incentives. So,
but they're still pitting Oklahoma against,
Oklahoma.
That's what I read.
Against Texas.
Yeah. So I don't know what city.
Well, this says that they bought the land in Austin.
Right. They already bought it.
Yeah. So something we'll keep an eye on there. That's exciting. We're always trying to keep pulse on Tesla. Speaking of Tesla, they have autopilot. GM has Super Cruise, and now Ford is coming out with what it calls active driver assist. And it's part of their Copilot 360 package. It's a hands-free cruise control, which can operate on divided highways in the US and Canada, has infrared camera tracks infrared camera that tracks the driver's eyes and head to make sure they're paying attention, and visual warnings in the instrument cluster used to get the driver back over if there's a need, but ignore warnings long enough. It will switch off and the vehicle will slow down if necessary. So Ford says it's pre-mapped more than 100,000 miles of highway that the program will work on, and it debuts in some 2021 models. Let's see, the Mustang Mach-E. Were you on the program where we talked about the Mach-E? I think Amanda was on that program. She was very unimpressed with that Mustang. I don't know if you were, Jay.
I got to tell you, my mind is still wandering, thinking about infrared technology that monitors whether you're paying attention or not.
I love it. Like, have you ever been in a car where like the seat vibrates if you're gonna brake, your braking's gonna be too short, too contrite?
Wow.
Like, that's great, because when that seat vibrates, you look up and hit that brake right away, and it.
Right, you stop reading your text.
Yeah, or whatever you do. I tell you, driving down south, I do a lot of road tripping. I cruise around 80 miles an hour. I'm in a Jeep Cherokee.
That
I,
should
cru-
be
I
that should be
cruise around
standard.
78
80
to
is a nice
80,
speed to if you're driving cross
but
country, 80 is great.
it feels lethal. The number of people that come riding up on your
Oh,
tail at 80 miles an
okay.
hour
I'm glad you
or
mentioned that because
zooming by you.
I'll tell you what. You know what I want to see happen socially is where we finally settle this tailgater problem. Like, I don't know, I I don't want to cause an accident, but I'd like to see somebody, I don't know. If you're tailgating and it's unreasonable, I don't know. What's unreasonable tailgating?
It's a tough call. My rule of thumb is I speed up, I get over, I slow down, I let them go
And
because
I do
that's just
too.
the safest way to
I
go.
actually I agree with you. I'd rather just let people through. But some people, here I go again.
All right.
Soapbox time.
Please.
Please.
I want to bring Kim and Tim up here. Two more news items that will let Kim and Tim opine on as well. So China,
Great.
the Chinese government has reclassified hybrids as low fuel consumption passenger vehicles. And that's significant because China has a point system and it's meant to boost the sale of EVs, and any vehicle whose wheels are driven by internal combustion engines has points taken away. So automakers will still lose points for
China
making
and the point
hybrids.
system.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. The
But
social credit.
petrol electric hybrids are no longer classified as gasoline only. And that's going to benefit automakers like Toyota and Honda, who, as you can imagine, lobbied heavily to get that rule change in China. So
That is really the new bellwether, especially for automakers, China.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's sad if you're a global player, you have to have China. I mean, you have to have China in your
You have to. Yeah.
in your market.
Yeah.
All right. Final piece. Apple is dropping its partnership with Intel in favor of doing its own processors in future Macs. And this has been an anticipated split, marks the end of the tech industry's most influential alliances. And the iPhone maker said it expects the transition to take 2 years. Intel has made chips for Mac since 2005, and it highlights the growing power of tech titans to expand their abilities and reduce their dependence on these major partners. So pretty big news.
That is huge news, I'm sure, for both of those companies.
So let's get Tim and Kim up here from Max Digital, who did a recent survey over 3,000 people between the ages of 25 and 55 to better understand how interest in purchasing a vehicle for this core automotive buying audience has changed due to the coronavirus outbreak. So here's some key insights that we're going to discuss. Purchasing patterns have changed less than expected in some key areas. There's been no meaningful shift from new car shopping to used cars, which I'm a little surprised by. Shoppers have become less focused on upgrading and more focused on incentives and deals, as well as health and safety. And the biggest impact of the crisis is to slow down the timing of their planned car purchase. I look forward to hearing more on that. And this one, and I think you brought this up on the show yesterday, online buying interest is rising, but it's still a very small segment of buyers. And I know that stuck out for you, right?
Yeah, it did. It's this feedback really is. It sounds like you had a great survey. 3,000, right? 3,000.
Yeah.
That's a great sampling.
So Tim, welcome to the Mobility, Tech, and Connectivity Show.
Thanks for having us.
And thanks for waiting in the wings for Jay and I to get through the opening segment. Usually it goes about 10 minutes.
It sounds like you guys have got a lot to talk about when this is over. That's for sure.
It's an ongoing thing. Yes. And like I said, the shows can go a long time, but great to have you here. Kim, you're dialed in from where? Chicago. Oh, I didn't even realize that. We're locals. And Tim, you are in
Wilmington, North Carolina.
Okay, great. So we got some Yankees and we got some, well, I can't say Confederates anymore because
I don't think we have that anymore.
No more.
We're just Americans here together.
All Americans. So Kim, let's let you set the stage here. As Jay pointed out, 3,000 people. How did you survey these folks?
So we did a Survey Monkey, and we looked at people who were from the ages of 25 to 54. So took like that core audience, and then we narrowed it further for a lot of these questions to just look at folks who are interested in new or relatively late model used cars. So that's core audience that we looked at.
And who were these people? Like, was it a purchase list? Did you go to a website? How did you prompt them?
No, it was general market and balanced to be general market. So we really wanted to know, for the average consumer in those groups, how are things changing?
And I was going to put a link to the PDF. So folks, I put a link to the details of today's program, and in there is a link to the PDF if you want to have the PDF up while we're talking through this. And I'll share my screen at some point.
I think one thing that we did a little differently, and maybe this is what you were trying to get to, Ryan, is that we really did try to put people in the headset of actually shopping. Mm-hmm. So particularly to that online question, I feel like it's over-reported quite a bit. Like, are you interested in online shopping is a very broad question that might have everyone say, yeah, I'm very interested in that. When we were asking the question, we said, you found a car online that you're interested in. Now, what do you do? And just a different way of kind of putting that person into the situation so that they could better imagine what they would actually do.
Yeah, because with surveys and polls, the questions can be so loaded and can skew something in that way. I'm going to share my screen. Now, is the report listing the questions in the order that the surveyee would see the questions?
I think it was, yes. We didn't include all the questions that we asked them, but for the questions that we asked, I think they're generally in this order.
The key ones.
Yeah.
So what type of vehicle are you thinking about? What was the time period of the survey?
It was mid-May. So just about a month from ago. Okay.
Mid-May. And were they emailed?
Online. This was online.
Okay. So that's how I was trying to, where would they have been prompted to fill out the survey?
Wow. Wow, this just jumped out. If you keep going down, when you find a vehicle you're interested online, which of the following best describes what you're going to do next?
That's right.
Wow. Contact someone, 45%.
Absolutely.
There it is, right?
It's incredible, right, Jay?
Wow, that is amazing. Don't tell Carvana.
Where is this? Show me what page is that on?
I think you go back up.
Yep.
Right? Yeah, there it is.
Here it is. Yeah. When you find a vehicle you're interested in online, which of the following best describes? And 45% say contact somebody.
And then 40%. I'm sorry. Wow.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, even in that online bucket, you're still getting 7% of people to say, even in an online situation, I need to talk to someone first. And so, people are coming into the dealership at 86% of the time. And more than half of that time, they really want to, know beforehand that that's the right car and the right place for them to be checking out that vehicle.
So there it is. Here's your dealership commercial. Are you thinking of shopping online for your car? You're looking at the computer. It's all going well. And then representative, because that's what everybody says when they get tired of that automated process. They want to talk to a person. This is great information.
It really speaks volumes to the importance of the local dealer. While he or she definitely has to have a good online presence and be able to capture and you hear Brian Pash talk about, you want to make your online lot just like your virtual lot, just like your online lot. But man, you've got to be there to talk to the customer either by phone, text, or in person, because that's really what they want next.
And when they get a hold of somebody, you cannot drop them. You have to remember who they are, have a solid database. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So, one of the things that, so my role with the company is I spend a lot of time on the ground at the dealerships talking with managers, general managers, salespeople, and it's converting those online browsers to, on the lot buyers and making salespeople instant experts. because if you're a guy at the Toyota store and they're calling in on the BMW, that's probably why the customer called, because they want to make sure what you saw online is really there, right? This whole trust factor. But yeah, very interesting. I think, hey, listen, I think that's good news for dealers, but franchise or independent.
Really good news, and it shows, like you said, you want to have that strong online presence, and then you can just carry them right into the physical experience.
Got to be able to bridge the gap,
and then Jay, probably bring it back to that touchless, right? It's that the multi-phase buying experience.
What was really interesting there, Jay, was like most people were actually comfortable without any changes. You had 53% of people saying, you know what, I'm ready to go into the dealership and I don't need them to change a thing. And then you had a little bit over 30% of people that said, you know, if you can wear the mask and the gloves, we'd appreciate it. That'd be great.
Do you then have in your survey about home delivery and how how many people feel they need that touchless delivery?
Yeah, you can see if you go back to that question that you were just looking at, see that there's, that 7-8% of folks who are interested in buying online immediately didn't need any other contact. If you add that together with a bucket just below that's saying, yeah, I need some contact, but then I'm ready for delivery, then everyone else was coming into the dealership. But then if you scroll down just a little bit from where you are, Ryan, then it says for everyone who's coming into the dealership, then do you expect kind of delivery there at the dealership? Are you finishing it up, or do you want to go home and have it delivered? And you can see there's a very small amount of folks that are in the, once I'm at the dealership, I just want to get the car, right? But there are a few people that are like, okay, I did the test drive, now I want to go home, and then I'll purchase it and you can deliver it to me. But it's really small.
Wow. Because again, given, what we're seeing on TV and whatnot, wouldn't you assume it was higher?
So much higher.
Right?
You would think if you got dropped in and just saw the media that, digital retailing and buying something online and having it delivered is dominant within the space. And it's not even close. In Vroom's, their filings before they went public, they said that all of 2019 had less than 1% e-commerce. Less than 1%.
And did they state what they thought projections would be and what current statistics are?
I didn't see that coming from them.
Not to get too far into what Vroom claimed, but
we did a dealer study, and they said basically that they expected by 2025 people to be at 34% of the market being delivered, which I think that's pretty reasonable. I've seen some really great things from Bloomberg lately that have been suggesting that, look, while people are going to want more delivery, it honestly is not going to be dominant. It's going to continue to be niche. And I think that's right. You've had they compared it to grocery delivery. And while it, definitely saw a pump here during COVID, most people still want to go to the grocery store and pick what they want to pick. And I think automotive is very similar.
Right. Well, and then follow up, I'd be curious, if it's going to cost more to get the home delivery, would you still choose it?
Or, hold on, Jay, what if it cost less
to get home delivery?
What if you could give a discount or an incentive for home delivery? I like where you're going with that question, because I've had dealers conversations to get people to go there is to incentivize customers to get into that process by offering them a discount, an online discount. You'd be surprised. So I think it's a good conversation.
Well, that is interesting, because wouldn't you incur more cost to do home delivery?
I think in the short run, yes. I think in the long run, no. If you're a dealer, I think you want to test this. I mean, I know it's a wacky.
So interesting, man.
But no, I've been in meetings with dealers who are looking to. So think of it this way: like when you go into Walmart with your online order, you get to go to the special orange kiosk and pick up your stuff right away. right? It's an incentive.
Self-checkout, Jay. Self-checkout.
Incentivize to go online, right? So you can get more people through the system if we can be more efficient.
So you're
let me
using
add this in
volume
there
to offset cost.
I'll add this in there. There's probably a mile radius limit where it makes sense, but you could play the odds.
There we go.
If you offer an incentive to do home delivery and 75% of those home deliveries are likely to come back for service, you win. And you just eat the loss on the ones that you're not, but you do.
Right. Yeah. Right. Create a package.
Yeah. So I like the thinking. Now, what prompted you to put that out there? I mean, obviously it's not like the idea just popped in your mind. Have you had conversations, Tim, where that?
Yeah. So I have, and there's this thought process where, if you order things online, you should be rewarded for going on that path. And things like self-checkout or expedited checkout. Think of the TSA at the airport. It's the same thing, right? You're pre-screened. You should get rewarded. Well, you get rewarded by going through quicker. Hey, I did all the work online. I should be rewarded by getting to go to the front of the line. So think of like your dealership XYZ Prime. You get to go to this desk. All your stuff's done. It would just, I really think it would build a ton of value. And I think long term, you'd be surprised. I think we're going to start seeing that.
That's a good idea. So I want to hone in on a piece of data from the same slide that where you had noticed, Jay, about the 45%.
Yeah.
But right below that is check out the vehicle at the dealership to test drive. So Kim, my question is, when the surveyee was prompted with this question, were they restricted to one response or could they choose multiple? Do you know?
No, they were restricted to one.
Okay. So that means
what the next step is for them. So that's the bucket of folks that don't call. They just show up.
So combined, you have over 85, almost 90%.
Yeah. And you can see we divided it by new and used. And
right.
So, the used is even stronger in that regard, where new is a little bit more comfortable buying online.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were, frankly, amazed. But it feels very real. It's definitely what people are seeing in the dealerships.
And we talked about these yesterday. There's two narratives going on in the industry. There's narrative A, which is that people don't want a dealer. They don't want to interface. They don't want to physically, have contact. And the narrative B is the local dealer has the edge. They've got the people, the service. Yeah. And I think you have I think your 3,000 sampling is enough to put a lot of credibility behind the result here.
Great report.
When you're talking about the trust side, the last piece of the survey on the national side, I honestly found most interesting, which was that the dealerships were more trusted on safety, like taking care of your safety during COVID-19, than a Carvana or a CarMax, and significantly more so. And so that, I think, just underlies this idea of, conceptually, I'm okay with buying with Carvana, but then when I'm thinking about putting my body in that dealership, I'm like, I know that guy down the street. I feel a little bit better about that than somebody off the internet. How are they handling all these logistics? It was really interesting to me, like in general, what you see broadly is when there is a crisis and when people are concerned about safety, they migrate towards organizations that have been there longer, that are just more traditional in nature. And we definitely saw that within the survey.
Yeah. Did you guys do a survey similar to this last year?
We did one a few months earlier. And we do an annual dealer survey, but no, we were as surprised as everyone else by COVID. So we did not have pre-planning for a benchmark.
Yeah. I think now you've got a great benchmark. You come back in a year and kind of obviously questions will change. This is promising here. 53% say they're comfortable purchasing through the traditional process at the dealership.
Yeah, and that was interesting. Regionally, you saw the South Central states. So, Texas in the bucket of, 60% plus were comfortable, even more than you're seeing here with the majority.
Okay. So you have the granular aspect of the data from regions.
The lower in that area was not surprisingly, New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey. They weren't as comfortable without the masks, just given everything they were dealing with.
Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit here to make it larger. So taking into account social distancing and safety procedures, how confident are you purchasing from an online vendor? 21, 25, 36. Now these are highlighted because they're higher.
Yeah. So if you scroll down just a little bit, we added those numbers together to just make it really easy to look at.
Mm-hmm.
You had both, Carvana and CarMax at 46 versus 63% of people feeling very confident purchasing from a local dealership.
Okay, so you're adding these two columns here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and these come about equal. And I have to wonder how many people know about Carvana. I did an interview a few months ago with an auto shopper, had nothing to do with the industry. And she was familiar with KBB and Carvana. She was not familiar with Auto Trader, Cars.com, or Car Gurus, which I found interesting.
Yeah, when you talk to consumers, I've been in the auto industry 25 plus years, and my wife was in the market for a new RAV4, and I said, check out this app, Car Gurus. She loved it. She was like, this is amazing. And she, it's just crazy. You're right, Ryan, how there's so many avenues for consumers. And maybe that's probably why that question came out the way it did. The local dealer, if he's doing a good job, Jay was talking about it before we started today, they're not tone deaf. Local dealers typically advertise with, related to the times.
Yes. They're very good about that.
If I see the local Kia guy get up one more time with the squeegee gun, but they make you feel comfortable. But these national chains and big box retailers, they're not as personable and could be a little bit tone deaf or stale and might not hit everybody. So
I think it may also be a impression of experience. Like, I think in general that the dealership staff is potentially older, and that in these times that might make people be like, oh, they take it a little more seriously,
Now, what is Max Digital going to do with this information? How do you utilize this?
Honestly, we share it broadly with our dealership community. That's it, and it helps us to really inform where we should be focused. So we've got a product called Max BDC that really works on making the handoff just really smooth from anyone calling in that first contact point all the way through the sale. So it helps us to better understand the buying process and build, tools in that way. Thank you. That's great. So one of the things that we did here is just realize we did interviews with BDC reps, and they said, you know what, I've got 4 websites open. I'm trying to find the answer. The pop-ups, this is making me crazy. And your system allows me to search and locate exactly the vehicle that this person is talking about, like that. And so it just helps you do that. The other thing that we did that is pretty cool is you send the garage to the customer, so here are the 2 or 3 cars that you're looking at, and then they can make changes in the privacy of their own home, and you see those changes. And so, when they're on the call with you, they might say, hey, Jay, I've got perfect credit. I'm fantastic, and then when they're going and looking on their own for monthly payments that they can afford, they might change that to like, I'm a little credit challenged. I didn't want to share that, but here I am. And then when they come in, you show that little barcode. Anyone can pick up exactly their experience by scanning that barcode.
Wow.
So your salesperson is just in there. They know exactly what this person said on the phone by what's in their garage and what they're doing.
That is huge.
Yeah.
That is, I mean, I think that is exactly what an online shopper needs to feel that they're being taken care of. It's amazing how much, I don't know if we recognize as individuals how much we expect from companies we interact with.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I get an email from a company and I expect that they know me. So when I call, they know me. Right?
Yeah.
And I think we do that.
And they do it so beautifully in a lot of ways, I mean, from advertising as much as you hate it online, that nails exactly what you were looking at. I've got to get a new pair of Nike running shoes, and if I see another ad on it, maybe I'll actually buy them.
It must be that highly targeted advertising that over time we've grown accustomed to without realizing. We say we don't want to be like so highly targeted that if I search for a shoe and then I go on Facebook, I'm seeing the shoe. Yeah. I'm like, whoa, that's freaky. But at the same time, I expect companies to know me.
I don't think that's as freaky as it was just a couple of years ago.
Right.
Well, I think you want us to know you, but don't tell us that you know you. Right?
Yes, thank you. Hi, Jay. How are you?
It also depends on what they tell you they know about you. There's the story. There's a story of the woman that gets a pregnancy test and then starts seeing ads for baby clothes. It's like, excuse me,
hello,
crossing the line here.
But Jay, to your question, or maybe it's Ryan, what do we do with this on the dealership side? By bringing this information to our customers, the managers at the desk or the BDC reps, giving them insight into the way the consumer is behaving, kind of proves the point that, it's not always about discount, price. There is a level of value that if you can deliver online and bring into the store, because there's the compression, right? Margin compression is such a hot topic. And it's really tight right now. So that's, on the other side of the product, that's why we do this as well.
Speaking to the price shopper, and this could be different now, but it was a few years ago, I was reading it was a dealer.com report, and it suggested that about 12% of shoppers are price-based shoppers. Like that's all they care about is price.
That's what we found too. We did a similar survey way back in the day.
Okay. So 12%, so figure. And the Carvanas, the Vrooms certainly have an edge for that shopper. They have an edge for that shopper, I would think. But that's only 10, 12% of the market. Yeah. And the rhetoric is that, it's not even rhetoric, but the reality is that your local car dealer has a lot of other amenities that they can bring to the table, and they can serve that 85, 90% of the market.
Play the 80. Let's let somebody else play with the 20% and lose the gross. I mean, you're going to probably get that. Oh, you'll get a swing at that guy or girl, but
it's interesting you say play the 80. I think that's where recent conversation has been with there's so much talk, discussion, and marketing of the online tools that were there before, but now it's like it's really gotten serious. We're in the 9th inning, and we're gonna win this ball game.
Yeah, there's just so much information out there. But at the end of the day, if you go to search on Auto Trader, Car Gurus, they don't serve you the ads based on price. It's like who paid the most to be ranked up high, and even Car Gurus is rewarding for those who build their ads the correct way. There's just so much more to it than the price. It's only 10%, 15% of the people building value, understanding how the consumer shop. That's where the real gross is. And you guys even hit it before. I know you when you got in here, and I saw what you're doing online, and we can make this smooth, and we can put you in the express lane. Wouldn't that be much better?
Right on. Yeah. Just park. We'll see you soon. We'll park in spot number 5, and we'll have the Tundra ready for a test drive.
How do you know I was a Tundra guy?
I don't know. Okay. I don't know how I know these things.
Ooh, a little eerie there. Talk about personalized advertising.
Before I forget, I want to ask you, have you done surveys on ride sharing?
Yes. We actually, we didn't share the data on that, but we did see what everyone else is seeing, which is essentially ride sharing is a little challenged right now as transportation, and people are really valuing their car as that independence. And, I think that's always been part of kind of Americana. It's like we want to be able to, get out on our own, conquer the West, and
right.
We're definitely seeing that.
We were just starting to see this great acceptance and shift. I mean, right?
What a way to what buzzkill for that whole industry. Huh?
Oh, buzzkill for sure. That is it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be interesting to once again revisit. Anyways, I mean, I find ride sharing fascinating.
They're going. I sat in on a Car Guru's presentation yesterday, and they've asked a lot of that question. That data is coming.
Yeah, cool.
Well, I did see a headline just the other day about HireCar seeing a record resurgence in demand for its vehicles. Now, I'm friendly with HireCar and I love their model, and they fall into that, definitely hit hard category. But I'll be curious to look a little bit further into that to see how things trickle back, back to the state of the norm.
I mean, Uber was looking like a Goliath in the building, right?
Yeah, and I think there's still
they were.
Yeah, I think there's still a business model there. I think for delivery, they were definitely pivoting, with Uber Eats and who knows what else they were delivering on the side.
Well, Uber compared to Lyft has an edge through this COVID economy because Lyft is very one-dimensional on passenger ride hailing, right? Uber's more concierge and can adapt a little bit differently.
Kim, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I got to share this stat. I had to pull it out. But one of the regional differences that we saw is overall, there were 5% of people that previously had not intended to buy as quickly, and now we're speeding that up. So going the opposite direction. And in the East, South, Central states, so that's Alabama, Kentucky, Mississippi, and Tennessee, that was 14%.
Compared to 5.
3 times as high. And so again, I don't know, I'm not local, but it does seem like for that area, for whatever reason, they're
public transportation switch, maybe
could be
because I mean there's a lot of articles about public transportation in like the UK and other high density areas, just whether it's concern and plus the article about people filling their tanks almost once a month, and that's fascinating. When's the last time that happened? Right?
70s.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. The 70s.
I haven't driven my car hardly at all.
It's weird, right?
Yeah. Lucky where I live. I have everything really close, and I live at the beach. I'm very lucky. I still have everything close. I can only imagine if you're sitting in your car, nothing.
Well, guys, this is great data, and really appreciate you taking the time to come up here and talk about it with us. It's been a good, enlightening, and candid conversation.
This has been awesome.
Good time, Ryan, Jay. Great meeting you guys today. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Such a pleasure. Take care.
Thanks.
So Kim Evenson, SVP of Marketing at Max Digital, Tim Scoutelas, Director of Strategic Events. And if you'd like the white paper, I shared a link to the post in the live chat on YouTube to the post with details. And in here is a link to Max Digital's website. I think it goes to their resources page, if I recall.
Yeah, I found the link too. Yeah, if you go to maxdigital.com and then in white papers, I think you can just go to maxdigital.com. Let me see here. Test it.
My camera's in the way. There it is.
So you go to
research.
Yeah, right. So maxdigital.com, drop down as resources, click on research.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then there's white papers. I'll put that in the link too. But that's in the post that we set up. And that now leads to, outside of that, I guess I'm
going to sign off. I'm going to let you wrap it up. Ryan, thank you so much for what you do, for the business, for the opinions, and the freedom to talk. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon.
All right,
man. Peace out.
All right, everybody. So Jay Wurzberger from Auto Transport Intel. I'm Ryan Girardi here on the Mobility Tech and Connectivity Show. Get yourself subscribed to autoconverse.com, and you can receive email notifications about upcoming shows. Get subscribed to our YouTube channel as well. Press the bell icon to turn on notifications, because once the live stream ends, the video becomes unlisted, and in order to watch the archives, you got to have the link. So that's the best way to get the link. And if you want to get here on Zoom with us, either before, during, or after, I do put a link here to get yourself signed up, and you can register with the show. Become a VIP member, and that'll give you access to the show and other inside information. So thanks again to everybody for tuning in. Have a great rest of the week and great rest of the day and all that good stuff. We will be back same time, same place next week. Take care, everybody. Mm-hmm.